Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In this session, we will be touching upon the topic of Shaucha. Shaucha means cleanliness, purification, and sanctification at different level of its application. Shaucha is a holistic approach towards having pure body, mind, speech, lifestyle, livelihood, etc. Acquiring high state of purity is considered an essential virtue on the path to liberation or moksha. That is why Shaucha finds a high place in almost all paths. It is one of the niyamas mentioned in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. It is mentioned as a very basic, fundamental, and important dharmacharana in all the Smriti Granthas too. A person without Shaucha has no adhikara, eligibility to perform any other dharmacharanas. Just as we can see our reflection clearly in a clean mirror, the self can shine forth when Shaucha is practiced. For a better understanding of the holistic nature of this virtue called Shaucha, let us look at what is cleanliness, what is purification, and what is sanctification. Cleanliness is to remove unwanted things, dirt, residues, stagnant things. We brush our teeth, wash our body, dust, sweep, and mop our living space, clean the vessels in which we cook and eat. All this is cleaning. But through the process of cleaning, we are dispelling stagnation, negative energy, pollutants, disorderliness, and so many other deeper subtle things. When the intent of cleaning is to reach this depth in the subtle level, then it is purification. When the word cleansing is used, it is in the level of maintenance. Cleansing cannot remove or change the nature of something, but purification is deep and subtle and works on a transformative level and brings forth the essential nature of the substance. For example, gold ore, when extracted from the earth, is covered with dirt and other impurities. In the first level, the outer dust and dirt is removed. In the next level, gold is subjected to fire, and fire purifies it, and various unwanted substances and impurities are removed from inside it, so that pure gold is obtained. When no impurities remain, it is the highest state of purity. Now, if this purest gold is set aside for a specific sacred purpose, for a special divine or sacred use, then it is called sanctification. This is why every religion and culture has developed spiritual rituals that are in essential nature cleansing but go very deep and become purifications and sanctifications. In various cultures, some purification process involves smearing the body with holy ash or sacred mud. So, does the body not become dirty because of this? Oh, well, the answer is no, as the work happening here through these substances and elements is beyond the technical definition offered by the word cleanliness. In several spiritual practices and religious ceremonies, vessels are set aside for specific purposes. Those utensils are considered sanctified. The body too is a vessel and can become sanctified and used only as a divine instrument. This is the objective of Shaucha. Shaucha in the scriptures cover a very broad range of topics including daily routines like bathing, cooking, cleaning, life processes like birthing, bringing up children, death, menstruation, sexual life, earning through right livelihood, etc. It also includes more subtle topics like purifying the mind, removing impure thoughts, karmas, etc. It also offers corrective measures through prayashchittas for decontaminating the inner system. Any bad thought, bad word, or bad action first brings down the purity level, cleanliness level of the person. So, it is very important to know how to practice Shaucha. In this session, we will be focusing on both external and internal Shaucha. Given our modern world and the stress on clean, hygienic products, environments, etc., the focus, understanding, and scope of Shaucha has somehow become limited to the external level maintenance. So, let us first remind ourselves Shaucha, cleanliness, is of two types, outer and inner. Mental cleanliness or mental purity is called Abhyantara Shaucha, the inner purity. Bahyamabhyantaram cheti dvividham shauchamishyate manasam sukrutam yattat shauchamabhyantaram smrutam. सदाहारविशुद्धिश्च कायप्रक्षालनं तु यत् बाह्यशौचं भवेदेतत् तथैवाचमनादिना. Eating clean food, bathing and achamanam amount to outer cleanliness. Achamanam is a ritualistic sipping of water from the palm of the hand for the purpose of purification. In our lives, a large amount of cleansing is done with the help of water, whether it is bathing or washing. Water is divine and holds tremendous importance. It is considered elixir and also the medicine, aushadhi. It is the universal solvent and hence the best cleanser and purifier. Water is also a very mysterious element and somehow the ancients have known about its power. Look at the story of the cosmos. At the end, everything is washed away in the great water deluge, Mahapralaya, and all that remains is the waters of creation. And this water that is remaining is not plain water, but it contains the indestructible residue of creation itself. Whatever is remaining is called Shesha in Sanskrit. What is primordial residue is called Adishesha. In the scriptural visualization, in the great waters of creation, Adishesha rests like a coiled serpent and becomes the bed for Narayana to enter his yogic sleep in order to begin creation. These primal waters exist before creation happens each time, as if they hold the blueprint of the creation, as if they have memory of that intention. Thus, do not take water for H2O alone. It is much more than that. So, bathing in water is cleansing, but invoking sacred rivers and sacred waters in any water you use for bathing is a purification process. Here, strong intent meets the power of the element. By remembering Ganga and requesting her to bless your bathing water with her properties is more than just having a bath. Our bodies become dirty. Mala or impurities seep out of the 9 doors of this body throughout day and night. Having a morning bath every day rids us of this unclean condition. Atyantam malinah kayo navachidra samanvitah sravatyesha divaratrau pratasnanam vishodhanam. Now, making bathing a spiritual ritual by remembering the power and properties of sacred water to cleanse our systems very, very deeply brings tremendous benefit. It brings inner strength, outer strength, balam. It brings beauty, glory, punya, knowledge, longevity, ayush, happiness, sukham, mental stability and mental resolve. and also Arogyam, good health. Balam Rupam Yasho Dharmam Gnanamayus Sukham Dhritim Arogyam Paramapnoti Samyak Snanena Manavaha. If bathing has to be a spiritual ritual, there is a specific timing for such a ritual, as synchronizing with the cosmos accelerates and facilitates the process. Udayat prak chatasrastu nadika arunodayah tatra snanam prashansanti sahi punyatamas smritaha. 1.5 hours before sunrise is considered a good time to have sacred bath. This period of time is referred as Arunodaya Kala. Bathing in sacred rivers is called Tirtha Snanam. Tirtha has many different meanings in Sanskrit. Tirtha is something sacred. It can be a place, a river, a person, a guru, etc. Journeying to a sacred place is called Tirthayatra, a pilgrimage. All the Mahanadis are called Tirthas, especially the ones flowing towards east are special, and the meeting point of two rivers also form a sacred place for taking a Punya Snana. यास्तु लोके महानद्यस्ताः सर्वास्तीर्थसंज्ञिकाः तासां प्राक् स्रोतसश्रेष्ठाः संगमश्च परस्परम्. The place where the river merges with the ocean is also sacred. On the banks of these rivers, from time immemorial, sages, saints, and divine beings have lived and served the rivers. It is also because of their pure energies these places have earned their sacredness. Tasam sagara sanyogo varishthashcheti vidyate tasam ubhayatak kulam tatra tatra manishibhihi devairva sevitam devi tattirtham paramam smritam. The residing place of tapasvis, munis, is called a tirtha kshetra. For the benefit of the world and well-being of everyone, these places emanate spiritual energy and hence are called tirthas. Tattu tirthamiti gneyam prabhavattu tapasvinam tada prabhriti tirthatvam labhel lokahitaya vai. Those who even mentally remember these great rivers and sacred spaces and have their bath or offer homage to their ancestors through Pitra Tarpana etc., eliminate some of their papas and obtain sukha. Kirtanachaiva tirthasya snanach pitratarpanat dhunanti papam tirtheshu te prayanti sukham divam. Even the ocean is considered a tirtha, and the ocean shore has been the action spot for many ancient stories, penances, and has been the dwelling place of saints and sages. Samudrascha mahatirtham pavanam paramam shubham tasya kulagatastirtha mahadbhischa samaplutaha. Ocean is a great water body. It is vast and powerful. The ruler of the ocean is called Varuna. Varuna is the governing force that plays a very important role in the sustenance of life here. All the rivers that flow to the ocean. They merge with it. Throughout their journey, all the rivers collect our dirt, residues and impurities and impressions with them. By the time they reach the ocean, they are carrying a lot of pollution, both in their physical and subtle form. When the river meets the ocean, the great force of Varuna distills all the accounts of karmas and impressions from the rivers and keeps them as salt, the crystal that carries the karmic residue. While the Surya Rashmi sun rays purifies the water and takes it upward. Pure water, with the help of wind, scatters across the world as rain, and rivers are rejuvenated again. That is why there are several rituals in various cultures to worship rivers at the beginning of monsoon. I am saying the story of water today to build an understanding of spiritual practices and rituals. A lot of Dharmacharana involves these practices, and they won't make sense if we don't build this inner understanding about how Dharma works at the cosmic level. Tirtha is actually a concept in the Shastras. It can be an actual physical location or a metaphorical term referring to the inward pilgrimage where a person travels to a sacred space within, attains a pure state inside, such as that of truth, forgiveness, kindness, simplicity, and so on. This inner space is called Manasa Tirtha. नोदकक्लिन्नगात्रस्थो स्नात इत्यभिधीयते सस्नातो योदमस्नातः स बाह्यभ्यन्तरः शुचिः. Washing the body with water alone is not the only definition of snanam. By bathing in the waters of mana and indriya nigraha and attaining chitta shuddhi, inner purity, is also called snanam. Whatever is there in the macrocosm is also present in the microcosm is a famous thought. Yatha pinde tatha brahmande, yatha brahmande tatha pinde. That as is the individual, so is the universe. As is the universe, so is the individual. The ancient ones have already said a lot about the speciality and greatness of going on an inward pilgrimage. They say there are many tirthas in this bhuloka, earth, and also in the mana. Those who understand the two and perform snana in both obtain divinity soon. मनसश्च पृथिव्याश्च पुण्यास्तीर्थास्तथा परे उभयोरेव यस्नायात् ससिद्धिं शीघ्रमाप्नुयात्. In the case of Manasa Tirtha, they say, Agadhe Vimale Shuddhe Satyatoye Dhriti Hrade Snatavyam Manase Tirthe Sattvamalambya Shashvatam. Manasa Tirtha is found in the valley of courage, inner strength, and pure waters of truth flow there. In such an inner sacred space, one must bath in the divine contemplation of Paramatma. The Tatparya is, through inner strength and truth, Chitta becomes pure, Shuddha, and in a Shuddha Chitta, illumined mind, the Paramatma is revealed. मनसा च प्रदीप्तेन ब्रह्मज्ञानजलेन च स्नाति यो मानसे तीर्थे तत्स्नानं तत्त्वदर्शिनः. The great sages, illumined beings, always have their inner sacred bath in the waters of Brahmajnana, in the Manasa Tirtha. After knowing the depth of Deha Shuddhi and Manasa Shuddhi that can be attained through the two types of bathing, inner and outer, now let's move towards Ahara Shuddhi. Amamsa Madhya Makledyam Aparyushitamevacha cha Atikatvamla Lavanahinam cha Shubhagandhi cha Krimikeshamalairhinam Samvritam Shuddha Darshanam Evam Vidham Sadaharyam Deva Brahmana Satkrutam Shreshthamityeva Tadgneyam Anyatha Manyate Ashubham. Eating food that is devoid of meat and alcohol, which is not stale, which is not excessively spicy, which is not having dirt and other impurities, which is pleasant to smell and look at, and can be a worthy offering to the gods, is worth consuming as food. Cooking food in clean vessels, keeping the kitchen clean, eating food after washing hands are at the level of cleanliness. offering the food to the divine forces, giving thanks to the giver, to the gods, thanking all those who have worked to give us the food, saying a grace before eating is at the level of purification. But eating food after it has been offered to the gods, elderly members of the family, to the servants and animals, and then saying a grace to remind food of its original nature of being energy, and then consuming it in very limited quantity becomes a tapasya, a sadhana, a spiritual practice, a sanctification of the body through the food energy. Thus, you see how the simple practice of eating clean food can operate in the maintenance level, in the purification level, and in the sanctification level. Finally, coming to the third Shaucha in today's session, Artha Shaucha, right means of earning a livelihood. सर्वेषामेव शौचानाम् अर्थशौचं परं स्मृतं योऽर्थे शुचिर्हि स शुचिर् न मृद्वारि शुचिः शुचिः. Among all the shauchas, Artha Shaucha is considered to be the most sacred. Having the right means of earning a livelihood is very important. So, it is worth to validate if one is in a profession that conforms with the Artha Shaucha policy. If not, what measures can be taken to deal with it? Any income coming from adharmic sources is unclean. If we are working for unethical cause or people, then our income too gets polluted. Our role and involvement in working for adharmic causes determine the extent to which the income gets polluted. Maintaining Artha Shaucha becomes very important because it in some way or the other affects the lives of all the members who are living on this source of income. First level is to become aware of whether our income is clean. If for some reason we have ended up in an unethical situation, work environment having unethical practices, then the second thing to become aware is the subtle truth that it is because there is some Rinatmaka Shakti that is weighing us downwards. Once we realize this subtle truth that our situation is because of this Rinatmaka Shakti, we need to work towards actions that will build more Dhanatmaka Shakti and pull us out of this situation. Here are a few steps that can be taken in such situations. It is not often easy to quit professions or switch jobs. But it is not impossible either to try changing one's company or move to a more ethical role. Working with detachment in the professional space is very important because the fruits of our detached actions have lesser karmic impact on our lives. Performing prayashchittas, penances, and through prayers, the Rinatmaka Shakti can be weakened and even eliminated so that we can completely come out of such a situation. If you recollect the story of Dharma Vyadha from the previous sessions, you can see that the butcher had no choice but to take up the profession involving great violence. But he conducted it with detachment and as a service to the meat eaters. No matter how much detachment he had, the very act of killing does bring a Rinatmaka effect. And to counter that, he practiced even more greater dharmas like serving his parents, speaking truth, simplicity, penitence, etc. A lapse in dharma in one aspect of our lives can be mitigated by strengthening dharma in other aspects. Slowly, the greater balance will emerge. And before concluding this session, let us once look at the 4 kinds of important shauchas. Vritta shaucham manashaucham tirtha shaucham atah param gnanotpannam cha yachaucham tachaucham paramam smritam. Shaucha is of 4 kinds: Achara Shuddhi, Manasika Shuddhi, Tirtha Shuddhi and Gnana Shuddhi. The purity obtained through right livelihood and dharmic practices is Achara Shuddhi. The purity obtained by clean thoughts and clear inner space is Manasika Shuddhi. The purity obtained through Punya Snanas or when a guru initiates a disciple is called Tirtha Shuddhi because Tirtha also means guru. And finally, the highest purity, the highest Shuddhi is obtained through Atmagnana. By attaining Atmagnana, one reaches the peak of purity and becomes divine. And this is the highest of all Shuddhis, Atma Shuddhi. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.